This is Hinako. I've been her English conversation teacher for a very long time, and I am so impressed by her commitment to becoming an English speaker. In April 2024, Hinako entered Rikyo University and was put in the highest level English class. Her college English teacher asked her why her English was so good. Did she live or study abroad? Well, Hinako didn't live or study abroad. Her parents don't speak English. She didn't attend schools with special English programs. And besides YouTube and her once a week English lesson with me, Hinako didn't have any special circumstances providing her with chances to use English. In this presentation, Hinako shares her English journey, how she got so far by her own efforts and with the support and encouragement of her family. She has some good advice for parents and other English speakers also. I believe you will be as impressed with Hinako as I am.
My name is Hinako. I graduated from Echiru Chiba High School this year. I just started going to Rikyo University. I don't have any plan yet about how I will use English in my future career, but I believe my English speaking skills will give me more and better opportunities. Neither of my parents speak English, but when I was maybe 6, my mother decided my younger sister and I should become English speakers. She thought it was a valuable skill and it would give us an advantage in our careers and our quality of life. She didn't give us a choice, but if she had, I'd have agreed to do. My mom enrolled us in Gail's English School. Learning English with Gail is all about speaking English. The classes were small, so we had a lot of chances to talk in English. Rather than hearing explanations about grammar and doing multiple choice and fill in the blank worksheets, we practiced speaking the grammar patterns. We didn't sing songs, play games, or memorize vocabulary lists in the class. In the lessons, sometimes we made up our own stories using the simple grammar and vocabulary we were learning. And we also looked at pictures and then explained about the pictures. Gail let us repeat our stories and explanations until we could say them more easily. The homework Gail gave us was effective. We watched English videos on YouTube that Gail recommended and also that Gail made herself. My mom had us watch the videos after breakfast for about 20 minutes almost every day. This, I believe, is the most important activity we did to learn to speak English, consistently watching English videos every day. At first, my mom had to tell us to do it, but then it became our daily habit. They were very easy English animated videos, and we watched the same videos over and over, and we would imitate the characters as they talked. I guess I would spontaneously inputting basic English grammar patterns and outputting English sentences. Actually, we didn't know that YouTube had more than just English learning videos. We thought the iPad and YouTube were just for helping us learn English. When we got older, we started to search for new English videos by ourselves just because we liked to watch them. Some of the channels we loved were Google Loves English, English Sing Sing, Pink Fong, Pumpkin English, Holly and Ben's Little Kingdom, Little Fox, and of course, we watched girls' videos because they matched the curriculum we were learning in English class. I'd like to tell you about English education in my junior high school. I attended the public junior high near my house. I don't think I had any particular complaints about it. I had 4 English classes in a week. We basically used textbooks. They were just typical lessons. In the first year, the pace of the class was extremely slow. We wrote the alphabet many times. We played a lot of games. Some were useful and some were not. And we sang songs. The way the teacher used songs was a little useful. Of course, we learned the content of the textbook. We read aloud and memorized the sentences. I think it worked well for most students if they did the work. And also, the test was so easy. So many students got high scores at first. In the second year, we did activities such as giving speeches and writing essays in the class. The pace of the class got faster and the passages in the textbook were longer, so students had to work harder. So most students couldn't keep up their good grades because now their grade also included their performance in giving speeches and in writing essays. Now the Japanese teachers spent about 50% of the time explaining grammar. In the third year, the pace of the class got even faster. Most students really struggled and hated English, but I didn't. Also because of COVID-19, we missed many lessons. The teacher had to have us cover much material in fewer lessons. The pace of the class got crazy. I think junior high students are able to learn to read and understand simple English by going through the Japanese English education system, but they can't actually use English in real situations because they didn't get to practice that. Now I want to tell you about my experience in my high school. I had 6 English classes when I was a freshman and a sophomore, and I had 8 classes when I was a senior. We used textbooks and workbooks which we bought through my school. The textbooks had useful vocabulary and grammar, but the teachers seemed to love to explain all the difficult grammar rather than let us practice using the grammar to speak. I really wanted more time to practice speaking in English. We also did activities like writing essays, giving speeches, and doing debate. At first, the themes were simple, but then they became more complicated. One thing that I hated was the English exam. Most students couldn't finish the test even if we had really studied because we had to memorize every sentence in the textbook. If we didn't, we would get a bad grade on the test, and we had to study for tests in other subjects, so we just couldn't spend all the time on English. Memorizing all those sentences was not useful, so my friends and I didn't bother to do it. Because the students and the teachers in my high school were very motivated, I was in a very good environment for learning. The quality of high school English education depends on the high school, and my school's wasn't so bad. Now I want to talk about my breakthrough in math because this breakthrough helped me with English too. I had been struggling during my senior year because even though I was making a lot of effort to prepare for college exams, I was worried that I wasn't doing it right and that I would fail, especially in math. When I was a freshman and a sophomore, I was in the bottom of my class in math, and I was really trying hard. I paid attention in class. I took math at JUCO But still, my test scores were terrible. So I believe I just didn't have the brains for math. I felt so inferior. In April 2023, I took a math test. I really studied for the test, but my score was still shockingly bad. I was so angry. I didn't want math stopping me from going to my dream university and controlling my future. So rather than surrender to math, I decided to do the opposite. I attacked math. I started practicing math drills more intensely than ever. For about a month, I worked on math about 5 hours a day. I started by going back to basics. I used all my old math drill books and just did them all over again many times. I realized I had to do more than just memorize math series. I had to practice using them until I could actually solve math problems with them. I changed my focus from answering the questions to seeing the logic of how to solve the problems. And one day, in one moment, I suddenly felt that something had changed. I began to understand how to use the logic to solve the problems. My math brain fog lifted. The theories changed into tools that I could use to get the answers. After that, math didn't seem so overwhelming. I didn't feel inferior anymore. That experience taught me that if I invested more intentional practice into something, I could probably learn to do it. Repetitive practice really works. After my breakthrough with math, I used the same approach with English. I spent at least an hour a day on English, often more. I started by reading my textbook from beginning to end, sometimes out loud. I noticed I was beginning to understand the English directly without having to translate into Japanese. And I was reading faster, even complex sentences. But then I switched to the English books at Juku and I realized I needed much more vocabulary. So I went back to my vocabulary books from school and started reviewing them very seriously. I kept reviewing the vocabulary list until the words were as familiar to me as Japanese. Then I practiced making my own sentences using this new vocabulary, and I practiced saying those sentences over and over. I did this for about 4 months. During summer vacation, I practiced English really hard, even though I had to spend a lot of time on other subjects too. Maybe I practiced English 2 hours a day. And if I had a little free time, like taking a bath, I watched English videos. Gail asks all the people she interviews this question: what would I do if I was the boss of all English education in Japan? Here's my answer. From my experience, the most important thing is for kids to be exposed to English every day. So, I would introduce English in the first grade. That means students would study English for a total of 12 years, just like they learn Japanese and math. From the first to the third grade, I would set aside 30 minutes after lunch for students to watch videos designed to help them learn English. After lunch is the best time because they need a change from their regular classes. The school year is about 8 months, so that is 240 hours of English in 3 years. This is an enormous amount of time. If you ask me, if my sister and I watched English cartoons with the intent to master English, I would say no. It is important to make English a part of our daily life, even if it is as little as 1% of the language we hear every day. Kids should not feel English is something strange or alien. And students need to watch English videos at home as homework. And parents need to provide time for their kids to watch these videos. But I know it is not easy, but it is important. For 4th and 6th graders, they should use Gale's original curriculum, Speak Workout. With Speak Workout, learners get the repetitive speaking practice they need to master core grammar patterns. If they do Speak Workouts about 30 minutes a day, they will develop English speaking muscles. That is Gale's special phrase. It means being able to use core grammar patterns without conscious effort, like we can use Japanese grammar. I know Speak Workout helped me stop making silly grammar mistakes. Speak Workout for learning to speak English was very similar to my breakthrough experience with math. All that crazy amount of repetitive practice really works, and that is why I think elementary school kids need it. I really envy kids who get to use it when they are young. As for junior high school English, I wouldn't change much about the curriculum. The only change is that students will not have to start with learning the alphabet because they would already know it. Because they already got basic speaking skills in elementary school, they could use the current textbooks and focus more on reading and writing. The same for high school. I think students can use the present textbooks and just supplement them with extra vocabulary. This will give students quite a high level of English proficiency. I have just started my college English classes, so I don't have any opinions about them yet. But I know what I want. I want practical experience using English skills. I want to spend the lesson discussing and debating in English. We can listen to as much English as we want on YouTube now, so I don't want the teacher to do all the talking. I hope the teachers don't evaluate my English skills only by paper tests. I don't want any more tests like the ones I had in high school. They were useless. I'm in the advanced English class, so I'm probably going to get what I want. I'm looking forward to the classes. From now, I want to explain how crucial my parents were for my English. Without them, especially my mother's support and commitment, my English skills would be much lower. My dad always praised my sisters and my English, even when it was terrible. My mom didn't criticize our English either. She drove us to go to school every week, made sure we finished our English homework. She set up the iPad every morning so we could watch English videos before school. Their support gave me a strong foundation in English conversation. So now it has become easier and faster for me to learn new English. So I want to say thank you to my parents. So my advice to anyone wanting or needing to speak English, please realize English is a skill, and like any skill, to master it, you need to put in a lot of time and effort. It will often be frustrating and tedious, and you will think you are making so much effort for so little result. You will be tempted to give up, but don't. It takes thousands of hours of practice and commitment. For me, all the time I invested into English was worth it. I believe English is a valuable asset that I now have. It will give me more and better options in my future career. And I think it will give me a more interesting, maybe more exciting lifestyle. Thank you for listening and good luck to you in your English journey.